Hi everyone, today we're going to talk about getting published. In particular, the main story that I know about getting published is my own. So I'm going to tell you how I did it. The first book I ever tried to write was The Echo Killing, and this was like 10 years ago, maybe longer. This was a long time ago. I sat down to write about a journalist in New Orleans who was uncovering an old murder. And I'd never written a novel before. I was a reporter, a journalist myself. Haha. I thought I'll write about what I know. They say write what you know. And it turned out so bad. I gave up on that after 8 chapters. I didn't know what I was doing. I didn't know where I was going. And I got really depressed about it. Like I just thought, I guess this isn't for me. This is not a thing that I can do. Give up this dream, Christi. Walk away. And I did. I put it in a drawer and I didn't think about it for a really long time. I had this job working for the government for a while in the UK. It started out really good and I loved it. It was like a serious office where, and I do mean serious stuff happened in this office. So it was like, oh yes, I wore important clothes and I sat up straight. And then after like a year, the thing that I went there to do that was really important and that I loved, it ended. And then I didn't really have an important job anymore. I kind of had a really boring job and I had a really long commute. And I really had a lot of time to think about my choices. Was this my life? Like this was it. I'd given up on journalism and I'd given up on other things and now I took trains and sat in an important office and did a job that didn't fulfill me. I was working with a lot of people who went to boarding school and I was working for the government and I did get to go places. Like I got to go to number 10 Downing Street. Anyway, and in the midst of all of this, I thought, what am I doing? I should be thinking of a fictional world like this. And that was sort of the beginning, because the world was messed up back then. This was, 2010 when I first started thinking about it. It was terrorism and chaos and war. And I thought about being a teenager in this world and how tricky that is and how unfair it is. This is the world they grew up in. They didn't make it. They're just getting it. What if they were at the heart of that and their parents were responsible for it? And so that was the beginning of night school. It really did fascinate me. And so that was my second book. Unlike the first book, it just wrote itself. I wrote on trains, I wrote after work, and I could hear the voices. For the first time, I knew how fiction was supposed to work. I could see the characters, I could feel their experiences. It was genuine magic. When I finished it, I knew this wasn't like the last one. This one felt viable. And that was the beginning. My husband read it. He was the first person I let read it. I told him to be honest and I trust him. And he said it was good. He said you should send this to other people and get their opinions. So that was the first time I thought, okay, let's try this. I gotta be brave. And so I sent it to, I've always said this, and she knows this is true, my meanest friend, who's really clever and has worked in publishing, and she knows, and she'll be brutally honest. She read it and then she wrote back and she said, I'll be damned. Send this to an agent. And in fact, I still remember precisely what she said. She said, there's gold in those pages. I have no background at all in fiction publishing. When I worked in publishing, I worked for a non-fiction magazine and travel book publisher, and they're very different worlds. I just Googled young adult agents and got 8 jillion hits. Then I looked in the backs of a few books that I liked to see who the agents were, because every writer thinks their agent in the acknowledgements. And I got a few names from there and I researched them and who they represented. And in the end, I sent it to one who represented a lot of British young adult, a really good agency who I still really admire. And she rejected it with reluctance, she said. And her reasoning to me, I've never understood, and I still think it was foolish. It was the chapters were too long. Kids, this is what you can be rejected for. And so I thought, okay, well, that doesn't seem like a really huge problem. I'm gonna see what some other agents think. So I sent it to one who really caught my eye, a young agent with a small list of writers who were both writing for adults and young adults. She had a foot in both camps. She was new and ambitious. The woman I sent it to was Madeline Milburn, and she called me within 24 hours to ask her to read the rest of it, and within 8 hours she had called me back and signed me. It was that fast. It was so fast. I just knew from the second I talked to Maddie on the phone that this was gonna work. She loved it. She got it. She got everything I was doing. She completely understood the book and the idea and my naivete and my writing style. It was destiny. The way it works is, if they really like it, it's not an email back, it's a phone call, and they want to talk to you. And you can sometimes go into their office. I know people who've been accepted by 3 agents, like they sent it to 3, got accepted by 3, and then they sort of interview each other, and then they choose the one they like the most as a human being and a person they want to work with, because you're going to be quite close to your agent. So it's good if you get on, like you need to like each other. You're going to have some ups and downs. They have to be someone who can comfort you when it all goes to hell. And then you decide pretty quickly, because you should have done your research in advance. You should know who you're sending it to and whether you're happy to work with them. And in my case, I had, and she was my favorite. And so it was one of those like, yes, I agree, let's sign. Then I went to her office to literally sign the contract because I live close enough to London to do that. Yeah, I just walked into an office on a very rainy day, a room filled with books, a, delightful young agent, very fired up about my book, and a cup of tea and a contract signing. Like, it's just 2 pages, the contract. There's not much to it. It's really straightforward. And then you're done, man. Then the job begins. I can pick up Busby for the outro. Come here, buddy. Hi. Yes. This is Busby. I want you all to meet Busby. He's the cutest puppy in the world. And he's gonna eat my hand. Ow! Thank you for being here. Subscribe. You can see more of Busby or what's left of my hand when it's just a nubbin that he has demolished. See you soon. Bye.